Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. I am assisted today by my lovely librarian assistant, Nora. Say hello, Nora. We are here to talk about the books that you guys have read because of me. It's so much fun. Let's get into it. So I hope you guys don't mind that Nora is going to join us today. She's just kind of crawling around in the library, which is kind of nice that I can still film and she can still hang and we're all friends together. Hey! So this video is very much inspired by Lauren from Lauren and the Books. She did this video recently and I loved it so much I knew that I had to do it as well. These are the top 10 books that you guys have read because of me. I think there might be 11 here. We'll see. So I have 11 books that I want to talk to you about because some of them were kind of ranked the same, but I did want to talk to you about all of them. So we'll start with the 4s, which means that 4 of you each have read these books because of me, which makes me very, very happy. First of all, is something that doesn't really surprise me all that much. It's Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I've talked about this enough. Although it's very much something that I've said, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for everyone, because this follows a woman whose husband dies very suddenly. And she is going through his computer and finds some things on there that are shocking. And she dives into what in the world has happened, who is her husband. This is all sorts of torture. There's lots of torture in here. So that's why I've said, like, don't just go into this. Like, this is not, the cover of this does not reflect what's inside this book. Very, very violent. Still the most violent thriller I've ever read. But 4 of you read this because of me. So if you liked it, I'm glad. Another thriller that you guys have read because of me, or some of you have, is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I really loved this summer. It's kind of a turn of the screw retelling by Henry James. You don't have to have read that at all to read this. But I really liked this and I'm glad that some of you picked it up because of me. This is about a girl who reads an advertisement in the paper to become a nanny for a family, a very wealthy family who are architects. And she's meant to go to the Scottish Highlands, and so she signs up for it and she's hired and she goes to this house and it is beautiful, but it's like very much a smart home. So the shower, you touch certain things and it remembers your settings. It's all smart home features. The architect's parents leave at one point and things in the house start going awry and it's very, very confusing. Oh my gosh, Nora just sat up on her own, which is so cute. Sorry. Oh my gosh, she's so adorable. How do I film with someone so adorable in the room? Okay. It's very twisty-turny. I personally liked the end. I know some people didn't really love the end, but I loved the ending. I loved the whole darn thing. It's not a terrifying book, I wouldn't say, but it's a bit creepy, which is super fun. And the last one that 4 of you read because of me, that honestly, I could not be happier. It's Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This was my favorite book that I read in, I think it was 2018. And it's still one of my favorite books of all time. This follows Ursula, who lives her life over and over again. And sometimes she gets to, you know, adulthood, and we go through World War II. When she reaches that, sometimes she doesn't, and she dies as a child, but you see her live her life repeatedly, and how life changes and how random life is. If she goes after a doll in one life, she dies. But if she's called down to dinner or something like that, she doesn't. And it's just so much about the randomness of life, but also the meaning of life, and just gorgeous writing. So meaningful to me at that time and still, and I just loved it. So I'm so happy that you guys read this because of me. Oh, it's just like, that's one of the joys about doing this channel, is especially when they're meaningful books and you read them because of me. It's just, oh wow, Nora's really busy. So the next two are books that 5 of you read because of me. The next is a thriller. It's The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This was fun. I don't think I like loved it to the point that I thought I was going to. But this follows a woman who shoots her husband 5 times in the face or something like that. And then she stops talking. And we meet a psychologist who is sure that he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to be the one who's going to make her talk. And it is about their experience together. I thought the little twist was really fun. So yeah, The Silent Patient was super fun. I definitely wouldn't say I'm like head over heels in love with that one, but it was a fun one. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And the next is something that I'm very happy to say 5 of you have picked up and read because of me. And it's Blue Monday by Nikki French. This is a whole series of books that are amazing. This is about a psychotherapist named Frida Klein, and she is seeing patients, and she sees this one patient who has been struggling with infertility with his wife, and he's very upset by it. He keeps dreaming of this little red-haired boy that he wants so desperately. He's redheaded. Anyway, a couple of days later, a little boy who looks a lot like the boy described in this man's dreams goes missing. And she gets involved in the case. And this is a whole series of books. So if you liked this, I hope that you're continuing the series. I am. I'm currently reading, when I'm filming this, I'm currently reading Thursday's Children. I'm kind of trying to slow it down. I was reading like one from the series every single month, but now I'm like, there are only 8. So, oh God, it's so hard. Loving this series. I hope you guys are too. Okay, so this next one, 6 of you read because of me, which makes me very, very happy. This is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I hope that you guys enjoyed the gothic, gorgeous ride that this is. If I could say anything about this book, I would say it's unbelievably atmospheric. This follows a woman who's not named. The whole thing, you don't know her name. And she meets a man who's wealthy. They have this whirlwind romance, and she agrees to marry him, and she goes back to his home, Manderley, and there she really gets to know, in a strange way, his ex-wife who died, named Rebecca. And it's a bit of a mystery. It's very gothic. This was my first Daphne du Maurier, and I loved it, and I really hope that you guys did too. Okay, so the next 2, 7 of you read because of me, which makes me, I keep saying it makes me so happy, but it really does. First up is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is it's brutal, and it's dark, and it's very much a horror book about a family who rent a cabin or stay at a cabin, at their own cabin in the summer. And we meet little Wen, and she's sitting outside collecting grasshoppers and playing around. And this man walks up to her and says, "Wen, what's about to happen isn't your fault." And he starts walking towards the cabin. Now she runs in to tell her dad that someone is out there, someone is creepy. They close the doors, lock them, and they start seeing a group of people walking up the lane holding very strange weapons, saying, "We're not going to hurt you. We just need your help to save the world." And it's about home invasion. It's a horror book that I really loved. So I'm glad you guys picked it up. Next is another thriller, and it's Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This is still the most twisty-turny thriller that I've ever read. And this follows a girl who is in a coma, And we follow her while she's in the coma, fully aware of her surroundings. Her husband and her sister are there, and she should be comforted by that. But she's actually terrified because she thinks one of them put her in the coma to begin with. And then we follow her, I think, a week before landing in the coma and the events going on in her life at that point. And then we also follow these childhood diary entries that are so interesting. The whole thing is twisty-turny. I loved all of that childhood sequence. I thought was ingenious. And I'm so glad that you guys read this. So much fun. Like such a perfect summer read, I would say. Okay, and then the next two all got 8. So 8 of you read each of these because of me. So first I want to talk about Lily and the Octopus. Oh my gosh. I think this was my favorite book that I had read in 2017. This is sad, but also funny and moving book. In this book you meet a gay man named Ted. He has a Dachshund named Lily, and she has cancer. He looks at her head one day. It looks like he sees this formation on her head, which looks like the form of an octopus. But everyone knows it's cancer, and it's about his relationship with Lily. Sorry, I had to just go and get her because she was making lots of noise. So this is about how she teaches him about the joy of life because he's incredibly depressed. And it's about the love of a dog. If you've ever had a dog, you'll love this book. Yes, it is sad sometimes. It really is. And I definitely cried a bunch. But I also laughed so hard and out loud while reading this as well. So I'm so glad that so many of you picked this one up because of my channel. That makes me really happy. In a totally different way, this also makes me happy because I think out of all the books that I've ever read, this is the book that I've pushed into most people's hands, like in my real life. It's Bird Box by Josh Malerman. So I think 7 or 8 of you, I think, read this because of me. And this is dystopian, apocalyptic, I should say, fiction about a world in which everyone is boarded up inside because something is outside. And when you see that something, you lose your mind, you kill other people, and you most definitely kill yourself. And we follow a woman, go back and forward in time, a woman who is boarded up in a home with 2 children, and she has to leave. And she is gathering them, blindfolding them, and getting into a little boat and going to the creek behind the house. Going down the creek because she's heard that there's like a safe haven down the way. And she has to get there blindfolded. So creepy. We also flash backwards in time. One of the things I love about this book is that it goes back in time when all of this just started. And it follows her when she's pregnant. Can you imagine this happening when you are pregnant? No, I can't. That would be terrifying. So I'm really glad a lot of you read this because of me. Now I have to say, I was shocked by the #1 book that you guys have read because of me. I didn't expect it at all. 14 people read this book because of my channel. Tangerine by Christine Mangan. And this makes me really happy. It was labeled as a thriller when it was released, and I would not say it's a thriller. There are definitely mysterious elements in here for sure. It's more of a gothic book. This author, I think, studied gothic literature in school, and it's so good. This follows a woman who moves to Tangier. I think it takes place in the 50s or the 40s. I'm trying to remember now. She moves there with her husband, and she doesn't really go out much, if I'm being honest. She stays inside a lot, even though she's in this beautiful setting, and you can feel the heat and the sand underneath your feet in this book. It's so atmospheric, and the way that Daphne du Maurier is atmospheric. One day, there's a knock at the door, and it's her old college friend. Like, these two were attached at the hip. These two were attached at the hip, but they ended their relationship very abruptly. I don't think it ended well. And there she is. And she's here to stay. And she can't really get rid of her. And then her husband goes missing. And it's about what happens from there. It goes back into the past. You find out what the drama was then. And then you're trying to sort out this mystery now. It's so good. I could not believe that this was the winner, but I'm so, so glad that so many of you read Tangerine because of me. That makes me so thrilled. Honestly, this whole stack makes me so thrilled because so many of them were like love, 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 love it books for me. So anyway, I just thought I would do this little video. Thank you, Lauren, for the idea. It was a lot of fun to do. I hope you guys are all doing well. Maybe you can request a book to me that, maybe you can suggest a book to me in the comments below. I would love that. I hope you're having a lovely day and I'll see you soon. Bye guys. Say bye, Nora. Bye. Nora, you're right in the middle of everything. What you doing, Pooper Scooperson? Who's that? Who's that baby? Who's that girl? Who's that baby in that world? Who's that baby? Who's that girl? I said, who's that girl?